This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Well, hello there, everybody, and no, your screen is not broken. Rob happens to be out for personal. Well, he's got a commitment that he's got to do, so I'll be running your Valhalla hour for a bit. But these guys are going to be taking most of it, so I'll turn it over to you.
How's it going? Thanks for doing that for us.
Oh, absolutely.
We can talk about Jordan Love's contract.
All right. Well, if you want to get the
elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I am absolutely ecstatic that we finally got Love signed and that he will actually be practicing. Because let me tell you, Sean Clifford absolutely rocks with the first team. Shit, he got injured towards the end of practice because Gary accidentally stepped on him.
Accidentally?
Yeah, I think Gary stepped on him. Hurry up and get Love signed. But $55 million a year. What do you guys think about the contract?
Well, we talked about it a little bit before we got on. Like I said, it's a lot for a guy with not a lot of tape or game time experience. I mean, he showed his potential towards the end of last season, but man, it's a risk. But you know, like you said, it's the going rate, but it's such a risk right now.
Yeah, I mean, with these contracts, again, Goff was almost the highest paid a month and a half ago, and now he's like fifth highest paid. So it's expensive now, but in a year, it's going to be probably a quote fair deal.
Oh yeah, because I'm already hearing rumblings that San Francisco is talking, or at least thinking about having Purdy at $65 million a year.
I can't possibly see that happening with the Ayuk and the Trent Richardson. Like, I'm not Trent Richardson, no, but yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah,
Richardson.
Yeah, the famous running back.
Yeah,
super stud.
Had such a long, illustrious career.
Him and Eddie Lacy, just Hall of Fame.
Hey, Eddie Lacy was great for 2 years.
He's ready.
2 years. And then, unfortunately, we found out what happens when he's got nobody watching him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love.
I couldn't even think of it. It was Trent Williams, though, who you meant.
Yep.
Yeah. And those are both going to be super high-paid players, so I can't imagine them giving Purdy anywhere near that.
Well, yeah, because Darrisaw just passed Williams for
the
pay.
Yeah, that's why it was like within 2 days, Williams came out and was like, hey, you know what? I kind of want a contract.
Well, shit. With all the dumpster fires he dealt with in Washington, they have gained whatever the hell he needs.
Right.
I mean, I'm almost glad we didn't make a deal for him that draft, because I remember when the year we drafted Darrisaw, there was rumblings that we were going to trade the first pick for Trent Williams, and I was like, he's great. Man, Darrisaw turned out to be a steal.
Well, didn't Williams say he didn't want to come here?
It was something about that. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know.
I don't think he was a Zimmer fan. So, but yeah, no, it worked out. Darrisaw's good. O'Neal's good. And we got a few cheap years out of Darrisaw. Not anymore. Although his cap hit this year is it's only like $5 million. So.
Well, yeah, because his cap hit doesn't kick in until 26 or the new deal. till 20.
Yep, next year is only a $10 million cap hit. So
yeah.
Speaking of that, Jordan. Oh, no, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that was it.
Okay. Jordan Love's deal is very front loaded. So when our receivers are coming due for their contracts, there's going to be a hell of a lot more cap room. Russ Ball and Gutekunst, they created one hell of a contract for this. I couldn't be happier with it, honestly.
That's big because the common conversation I have with Packers fans is like you have about a 2 to 3 year window because while it's good having the young offense now, they're all going to come up on contracts at the exact same time. And how do you handle that? Do you just blow it up and see if you can draft 6 people that are able to play all over again? I mean, you got to pay somebody. So to front load it, that's a good move.
Yeah. And unless Christian Watson proves that his hamstring is fully healthy, I think the only one that's going to get a contract consideration is Dobbs as of right now. Now at the end,
I'd say Reed.
Well, Reed was only a rookie last year.
Yeah, Dobbs was only a year 2 though.
Oh shit! I think they'll write it out, and they won't give him the contract until going into his 4th year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got about 3 years before you got to start paying these guys.
Okay, yeah, I misunderstood you.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you guys, you had the money. You obviously can't let him go after letting him develop for 4 years and looking like he did. So, just gotta hope he's the Dallas quarterback and not the San Fran quarterback.
Hey, if he turned out to only be a Jeff Garcia, I'd be cool with it. Because hey, we had 2 great quarterbacks, and now you got one that's average. I'd take average.
Yeah. How many quarterbacks have we gone through compared to your 3 in the last
30
years?
Oh.
I'm going to catch hell from Vikings fans for saying this, but Tanya was basically Alex Smith, and we were acting like he was the next Peyton Manning. So I wouldn't imagine how we'd react if we had someone that played like Jordan Love the second half of the season last year.
Yeah. He was absolutely phenomenal. And it's very hard as a Packers fan to temper our expectations for the year from how he ended. You just want to automatically run with, oh my God, he's going to be one of the absolute best, if not fighting for the best quarterback in the league. He's going to go on an absolute tear.
Oh, I'm seeing that talk. Oh, we got 3rd straight Hall of Famer. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to call him a Hall of Famer, but I will say he's our 3rd straight franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the biggest issue like we had was I don't know what it was about when Spielman was the general manager is we could not evaluate quarterbacks.
No.
Just could not. And it's not all on him. It's the scouting, the whole scouting department. We could not evaluate any other position. We did great. But evaluating quarterbacks is something that staff was not able to do.
Yeah, and the one good thing about Love and LaFleur had been following him all the way since high school. So when he got drafted, this was already the guy he's imagining creating plays for. And now it's, okay, so all those imagined plays that I have, let's fold them in.
Yeah. Well, now we got to hope that we have a scouting department that can evaluate quarterbacks with McCarthy. So first 2 days of training camp, it's been pretty promising. But again, he's, I think, playing 2nd string. So, and our secondary is obviously lacking a lot of talent right now. So it's hard to make anything of it. But again, it's better to look good than it is to look bad. And he had a nice little 40-yard touchdown to Jalen Naylor. So,
okay.
We'll see.
Now, how many of it was air yards? Because a lot of the knock that I heard. Okay. Because a lot of the knock I heard on him is that he did not have the greatest arm talent, like power-wise.
So he actually had a 60-yard pass to Naylor as well, but Naylor did have to track back a little bit for it, but it was about 55 yards through the air.
Shit.
Yeah.
What complained about that?
My biggest knock on him was he didn't know when to throw the finesse ball. It was always throwing fastballs.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, he's got a good cannon. He just didn't know when to reel it in. You know, it's like my youngest kid plays baseball and he's a catcher, and they had him at second base, and I was like, dude, you can't throw it the same way. You know, trying to teach that, dude, you're 10 feet from a guy and not 90 feet. You just can't throw it the same way.
Right.
So it's hopefully he gets it. Although I heard a lot about him being undisciplined when Harbaugh was suspended, so I don't know. They said his game regressed a little bit, where that's why they were running the ball so heavy, or even heavier than they had been when Harbaugh was coaching. But when he was suspended, they just said he lost focus or discipline. I don't know what it was, but they focused way more on the run. So
okay,
but just the play calling was different without Harbaugh too. So
yeah,
people read a lot into, you add 10 handoffs a game and take away 10 throwing attempts when your head coach isn't there. Is it the quarterback? Is it the play calling? Is it what? You don't know. So
just trying to play safe to not sink a ship in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I've noticed too is I've seen some videos of his footwork in OTAs compared to his footwork now. And in OTAs, it was admittedly pretty slow in the drop back, kind of like little choppy footsteps, looking like he had to work to drop back. And now his feet are just a lot quicker motion, a lot quicker drop back. So they're helping with that. And I think bringing him McCown as a QB coach too, in KOC, having been a former quarterback, like he has a lot of good leaders around him to help him develop. So it's definitely not going to be a first year guy, but.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you guys that KOC looks like he's going to be one hell of a coach, because I've been impressed with him for what he's done so far. And even last year to me was more impressive than his first year because of the quarterback carousel you had going on after Kirk went down, and he still kept you guys relevant. Granted, the season didn't go how you wanted it to, but it went a hell of a lot better than it could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed too with McCarthy in OTAs, he did not look comfortable under center.
Mm-hmm.
He just he didn't know how to squat and stand right, it seemed, and that looks much better. From what I haven't seen a lot of the OTA highlights, and it sucks that the clips are terrible half the time that you don't get to see,
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it looks a little better. But OTAs, he just did not look comfortable under center, but it's growing pains. I'm glad Darnold looks good, so that helps.
Right. Yeah, he's looked. I mean, it's practice, but yeah, he's looked pretty damn good.
And I was gonna say, don't put too much stock in his first year, him not looking the greatest, because I'll tell you, Love looked awful his first year that we had in there. It's almost a complete night and day difference.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see a lot of Vikings fans that are concerned about McCarthy sitting out the first year. I think that's pretty widely the expectation for him. I mean, we all want to scratch that itch and see what he has, but we'll just have to be happy with preseason.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I'll be happy as hell with preseason and any cleanup games.
And are you fine with sitting him for the whole year, even if Darnold sucks, just so he gets the learning from it?
Preferably.
Okay.
Yeah.
We only have a first round, a comp third, and a fifth. So if we could get that first round into a top 10 pick and maybe train it back for some extra capital, maybe we got to do something. So if Darnold's going to suck, I mean, McCarthy's not going to come in and be lights out. The season's probably gone at that point. We should have tanked last year when Kirk went down. Instead, we got a 11th pick. We could have had May had we just, not tried. But so no, I don't want to make the same mistake a second year. It's just like, oh well, that's the Vikings. I've said this before. Our blessing and a curse is we never quit, which as a team is great. You don't want to see your team folded in. But at the same time, it wouldn't hurt to do it once.
Yeah, I don't think we've drafted top 5 more than twice in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Darren Nelson and Matt Khalil are the only 2 I can remember.
I only remember as a Packers fan drafting in the top 10 once. Maybe, no, twice. Because there was A.J. Hawk and then B.J. Raji. Other than that, we're stuck usually picking
Babyface.
The 20s.
Oh, no, I remember. What the hell was his name? Tony Mandrich.
That was technically in my lifetime, but about 2 seasons before I started.
Oh, you didn't think I'd throw that at you, did you?
I was going to say, technically, we're both kind of right on that. Because I may have been born, but I don't think at about 3 years old I really cared that much.
Yeah, I think Another thing that's going to affect us too is, I mean, Hawkinson's obviously starting the season on the PUP list, and now with Addison's DUI, it sounds like he might get a 2 to 3 game suspension. So,
I read an article that he never was technically booked.
Well, so the toxicology hasn't come back.
California.
Yeah, it was an alleged DUI, I guess. But it sounds like the team, if the NFL doesn't suspend him, the team internally wants to dole out some type of punishment. So, I mean, maybe that's just a one. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually might be a good thing because, as you've seen for the past 2 years, he's gotten in some kind of trouble. And as we saw with Alexander, sometimes sitting a guy for a game is the best thing you can do for him. Because ever since we sat Alexander, it's been a total mood change with him to where now he's a full team guy and bought all in. When before he was, oh, you want me to do something?
Yeah. Yeah, and Addison was saying, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
So Addison was also saying stuff like, I was in a dark place. I just wasn't there mentally, and is really crediting his teammates for stepping up and having his back. So hopefully him understanding that he's not alone or whatever he had going on in his life, that he's got a support group behind him, hopefully helps him change as well.
Yeah, because I was, a lot of his, like, he balls out, he plays, he's there, he practices. I think a lot of it's just being young and not, a lot of these players don't have the support around them from family and friends. A lot of these guys come from, I don't want to say bad neighborhoods or bad areas or whatever, but there's just some guys whose friends latch on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, who was it Delvin when we drafted Delvin?
Yeah.
Moved up here by himself. I think his sister came with him or something and lived with him his first year. So some people do it right. And they have support for these rookies. They have like the rookie symposium where they have all these, guys who were rookies the year before, veterans come out and talk to them about finance.
Yeah, but it's only one little seminar. It's my issue with it. I think that they should give them a few days of it instead of just, here's a couple of hours. All right, go off your life up.
Yeah, it's like a 45-minute PowerPoint.
3 or 4 days of it.
Or hook these rookies up with some of the veterans in the league and almost kind of have like a mentor type of system going on to where it's, hey,
right.
I X, Y, and Z going on in my life. Do you have any advice for me? Because
almost like a sponsor in AA type of thing.
Yep.
Call me anytime. And I think a lot of organizations do that internally. Just some players connect better than others, but there's some that just don't, connect with other players very well.
Mm-hmm. And that's my only issue is, granted, yes, I know these are grown men and all that, but the NFL to me kind of leaves them out to dry a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Going to college where you're micromanaged every minute of what you're doing to now, here you go, do whatever. This is what we'd like you to do, but other than that, it's your choice.
Just be back by curfew.
and even that's make it kind of close.
Right. Well, and that's where it's nice having someone like Jefferson next to him, because everything he says is super humble for a player of his talent with how much he's making. Like he said, like, I don't need a big mansion to live in. That's not who I am. And when he was going through his contract situation, he said it never affected my ability to practice, my ability to play. He's like, I always wanted to be there for my team. His injury last year was more severe than was let on. He came back early because he didn't want to let his team down. Like, he does everything right. And he could just as easily be a Stephon Diggs type diva, but he's a great team guy, and I think he's going to be a great support structure for Addison. And like even McCarthy said that after practice, they hang out for hours a day, and JJ just goes over game plans and the playbook with them just to try to help them understand it and help them develop. And you just can't.
That right there is going to be JJ's best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got somebody that's going to sit there and work through you with it and is spending all this time outside of the facility with you. That definitely breeds success.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I noticed from some of the interviews I've watched in the last couple of days, Darnold and Reisner, and they talk about the team spending a lot of time together outside the facility, off the field. Darnold specifically mentioned Twins games, Wolves games. Reisner talked about going golfing during OTAs with part of the team. Like they took a 3-hour road trip to Wisconsin to go golfing. These players are spending time together away from football, which I think is you don't see that a lot in the NFL.
Absolutely. Great,
and I think that's the atmosphere and the what's the word I want?
Culture,
camaraderie,
the culture that O'Connell wants to build and Kwesi wants to build, and they'd much rather, I just saw a thing about somebody said, who would you rather go against, 5 people who get along or 5 of the best athletes, or 5 mediocre athletes who get along really well, or 5 of the best who can't stand each other?
Yeah.
5 mediocre players who are good and can sense each other what they're going to do next, or 5 players who are going to, be ball hogs and not want to share, not want to pass, or, whatever it may be. Dude, that team with the people that get along are going to do so much better, and I think that off the field, just a simple Twins game is a huge deal for some of these guys.
Oh, absolutely. As we saw with Green Bay's old quarterback, there wasn't a whole lot of team building exercises going on in those days. But since Love has taken over, the whole culture has shifted to where these guys are all buddy with each other. You had Reed and Wicks getting a apartment together in the off season so they could train. You're getting a whole even Josh Jacobs got in on it with Jordan Love too. They were all out in California training. This is what you hope to see from a team, that, hey, we got some cohesion and we actually give a shit about the guy playing next to us. Not just, hey, I make a lot of money because I'm really good. You make a lot of money because you're really good. I'll see you when training camp starts.
Right. Well, we even had Adam Thielen fly in and train with McCarthy at Woodbury High School, and McCarthy said Adam Thielen was kind of teaching him the complexities of the KOC offense because he was here for a year of it. And so he's just – there's also the talk like, oh, if the Panthers cut Thielen, hello, our wide receiver 3, which, I mean, I don't see them cutting Thielen, but I wouldn't mind having him back. But, I mean, yeah, everyone's coming in and helping McCarthy pan now, and it just seems like even with him not being on the team anymore, like Eric was just saying, that culture of Vikings coming together to try to do what's best for the team is awesome.
When he retires Thielen there, would you like to see him come back as like some type of assistant coach? Because it almost seems from an outside perspective that he's got kind of a knack for it.
I would, just like we did with Terrence Newman when he retired. We brought him in as a D-back coach because he had such a long time of success in the league. I mean, he was never elite, but I mean, he had 16 years of above solid play. So that kind of knowledge is a great asset to have on the team.
Yeah, I think the guys who hang around a long time who aren't, your elites that, last year 12, 13, 14, 15 years, they are excellent coaches because they bounce teams a lot. They pick up different schemes. They're smart enough to pick these up and stay around. You look at quarterback for the Vikings, Todd Bauman. He went to St. Cloud State University, a Division II school that I don't even think has football anymore. Made the Vikings, played, was a second or third stringer, held the clipboard for most of his career, went to the Saints, went to the Panthers. Now he's the head coach at Buffalo High School in Minnesota. He learned a lot going through different teams to be able to pass it on,
I mean, that's why Kirk kept Sean Mannion around for so long. I mean, it was the running joke of Vikings fans is all he is a clipboard holder. But it was just that knowledge he could give Kirk to help him step his game up. Like, he wasn't going to do it on the field, but it didn't mean he didn't know what he was doing as a mentor and as a student of the game, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's like Josh McCown with him getting into the coaching there. He was never the greatest quarterback by any means, but he knew more than enough to help the guys that had the talent to do it.
Right.
Yeah, because
hopefully he does that with McCarthy.
Darnold was just saying that, his rookie year he played with McCown and he helped him a lot that season, go through it. He said, so it's a little different. He said, as a player, it was all positives. Now, as his coach, he knows, as McCown's his coach, he's got to tell him some of the negatives. He said, but it's still the same person. It's just a little bit different relationship.
Right. Yeah.
He said, it's weird to adjust.
Yeah, it's not a competition anymore. It's like, oh shit, I have to listen to this guy because he's the one in charge of me playing.
Oh yeah, it's having your quarterback and coach be just a few years apart from each other. That's what I think part of Rodgers' problem with LaFleur was a bit.
Oh yeah,
was that, dude, we're pretty much the same age. I've been a top quarterback in this league, and I got to listen to you. But as LaFleur's shown, he knows what he's talking about, though.
Yeah.
Because we looked up an interesting stat the other day, and LaFleur has never lost to the Bears a day in his coaching life. Even
that's crazy.
He still beat them.
Well, yeah, that was Love's, like, one of his first tweets after the game was like, oh, I'm still your daddy. He just straight up carried that torch. So sorry, Bears fan that just commented on here, but it's true. I mean, even last year, everyone gave us crap about being this terrible team, but Chicago only beat us by 2 points. And that was without Kirk. And I think without JJ, so
and without scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, so
they kicked 5 field goals and beat us, something like that, 6.
Oh, hey, but we got Keenan Allen, so it's different. Sorry,
the skeletal remains of Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is on Geritol this year, so
yeah, hopefully they don't test for that substance.
Man, speaking of resurgences, AJ Dillon. I've been seeing a lot about he's put on some muscle.
Oh my God. He looks like a damn Terminator right now with how cut he is.
Yeah, his legs are damn tree trunks.
Now, all the muscles in the world ain't going to help if he hasn't fixed his aggressiveness. He needs to get back to how he played as a rookie. Because last year, I couldn't tell you how many times he'd get hit, and yeah, he'd keep his legs turning, but it just almost seemed like he was kind of putting in the motions instead of wanting to absolutely bust right through the guy.
Yeah, and, I mean,
we're also going to be trying him out at fullback this year.
That makes sense.
Yep. Because last year we ran a couple of plays with him at fullback, and he did pretty well. So we're going to try to see if we can pencil him in there just to see if we can get the best guys on the field.
The Packers are going to prove me right when I said by the time 2030 rolls around, we'll be running Wishbone and Power Eye again. Because not too fast. You got to go back to the power game.
Hey, I wouldn't be against seeing some smash mouth football again.
I really do. I could see it coming back just because the linebackers are getting smaller. D tackles are getting smaller. Everybody's going small and fast, and you start bringing back Power Eye and the Wishbone and the T, they're just going to run over people.
And for a little bit of a shameless plug, Ken, the Bear fan, and I were talking about this on our show, Ken and Ken in the morning, every weekday at 10. That we wouldn't be surprised if we see it because we know the NFL is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
And we might not see it to where a team is completely run dominant still, but you're going to start to see some of these guys get to be the big hog mollies again.
I think so. I think you're right. I've been saying it for a couple of years already.
Especially if the NFL keeps hindering defenses in the passing game, then teams are going to just want to stray away from passing it all the time because it's just going to be a mess. So it's like, let's just pound it and run it out.
Mm-hmm. That's like around 2010 when we had lightened up all of our backfield and all of that, thinking everything's going full dominant into a passing league, and you had the resurgence of the feature backs, and it was, we're just getting run all over. Well, hello there, Yoli.
Hello.
Glad to have a Packer fan joining me.
I feel like we've been pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, you guys have been great for being purple guys. But what's the news on Shaquille Griffin there? I know he went down with an injury, but I don't know how bad it was, or actually even what it was.
It was a sprained ankle is what I heard last.
Yep, same.
It seemed like it was like a high ankle sprain or nothing, just an ankle sprain. And I think they're being overly cautious with it.
Well, can you blame them with already losing a couple of guys? It's hey,
I mean,
just sit there and make sure you're healthy for the season, man.
Right. I mean, oh.
Yeah, I mean, that is a concern with him as well. As the last couple seasons, he's had nagging injuries. So it's one of those, we got him for cheap because of that. And when he is on the field, he's not great, but he is definitely a solid defender. Like, he grades out well. But, I mean, we might have a Davenport situation where he's out week 1 and then tweaks something, and then next thing you know, he's out for 10 games. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I got to knock on some wood here.
Yeah.
You know.
So
we don't need him off chasing Bigfoot for 10 weeks.
No. Darkness retreats.
Hey, don't knock the darkness retreats.
So, yeah, I mean, even with him back, though, it's what? Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, and Duke Shelley. I mean,
Caleb Evans and
But they are who they are. I mean, they both are injury prone, and they have had 3 years now to show what they have, or I suppose 2. But it's just, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in them all of a sudden taking a magical step in year 3. So a move has to be made. Whether I've been seeing talk of like, oh, if the Saints make Lattimore available, there's people inside the Vikings that are interested in trading for him, but we don't have a lot of draft capital. But yeah, you have Adoree Jackson available, TJ Jackson or JC Jackson, sorry. So there's people you can get, but we can't roll with that being our squad because Byron Murphy last year was injured. So, and he's getting up there in age.
Yeah. And I'm not sitting here trying to take a jab at you guys, but there's not a cornerback on your roster that I have any fear of.
No.
That's just the thing is you guys are missing that killer out there at corner.
100%. The only thing is we have 3 really good safeties, and we also have a really stacked defensive line as of right now, especially if Dallas Turner pans out. So we got to kind of hope it's a 2017 situation where, I mean, outside of Xavier Rhodes, we didn't have any killers in our secondary as well, but we had Everson Griffin, we had Daniil Hunter, like we had a ferocious pass rush that it didn't give the quarterback a lot of time to throw the ball, so we didn't have to worry about having a strong secondary. So we kind of have to hope we replicate that this year.
Yeah, I think with Dallas Turner, you guys got yourselves one hell of a job.
Yeah. And he's going up against Christian Darrisaw every day. And he's saying, like, hey, man, like, this is a tough SOB. He's a top 5 left tackle in the league. So if I have to go up against him every day, if I go up against some just kind of average guy, it's going to be easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even O'Neal came out and said how impressed he'd been with him.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I got to say this. Both Darrisaw and O'Connell were talking about Brian O'Neal and kept calling him B.O. I could not deal with that during the press conference. I kept saying B.O. B.O. And I'm like, dude, you can't call
a different nickname, please.
You can't call a guy B.O. That's
that's the perfect nickname. That way it gives that guy that little extra tweak every time he hears it. So he goes and takes it and puts it out on the field.
Yeah. Makes the defender step back an extra step, maybe mess up his game. Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's such a gap between him and Ingram in the offensive line.
Yeah. So and then with Grenard, obviously he had 12.5 sacks last year. It was a career season under a head coach that has a similar defensive style as Flores with D'Amico Ryan. So I'm hoping that we can continue that aggression. And then we had a Dolphins fan on last week that was speaking super highly of Van Ginkel, saying that whenever you see a playmate on defense, he's always there, and he was a fan favorite. And so I'm really excited for our linebacker situation.
I just saw a thing on the Dolphins that listed their top 5 or top 6 people in sacks last season. 3 of them on other teams, and 2 of them are on the pup.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that on the morning show, too.
I was like, that's insane. Like, your top 6 sack producers, 1 is available. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so...
But they signed Tua.
Yeah.
So they're fine.
Who you got to worry about a fly landing on his helmet and ending his career?
At this point, you really do.
Honestly.
Yeah, my uncle's a huge Buffalo Bills fan, so he's got a little bit of insight onto it. I was talking with him about it a week or 2 ago, and I'm sitting there expecting him to absolutely trash Tua, because Tua's all right in my opinion, but in big games he massively flounders. To where he said that Tua, it's not so much based on his arm talent, is his accuracy is pinpoint. He's almost like a Chad Pennington type. That he might not give you all those big wild plays, but he's got the timing down so perfect with the offense he have. It's dangerous. Now, with these timing routes that they're running, that might be a way that they can protect him from taking these shots, is just make this a quick passing game the whole way around. Because Mike McDaniels is one hell of play caller. So you got to think he's got that somewhere in his head.
Mm-hmm. But you also need a team that takes your concussion seriously. And both times he got concussed last year, it seems like they rushed him back a little too quick. And just even to the media, tried to play it off like, oh, it wasn't a concussion. He just had the wind knocked out of him. Like, we could see his hands crumple.
Yeah, like they said he landed on his shoulder or something, when you see his head just get crushed into the turf.
Honestly, it's like, why is he wobbling off the field then? Oh, he stubbed a toe. It's hard to put pressure on his foot. Like, no. So
no, his eyes are still crossing, and it's been 10 days.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to see that, because, you know, as frustrated as you get as a fan, especially like with the Vikings have been the last couple of seasons, so overcautious with bringing people back from injury, you know, and you hear it 100 times from O'Connell. You know, we're going to not wait till he's 100%. We're going to wait till he's 100%. It's so frustrating as a fan, because you want the best players out there. But when a team takes a player's injury serious, that's, again, goes back to that culture. You know, teams want to play for players want to play for teams that are going to have their best interest at heart as well. You know, so
right.
But it gets frustrating, you know, and I can understand, you know, living down here in Florida, that the Miami fans are intense, and they wanted Tua in. Was it last season? Whatever year we beat them, was that last year? The year before.
The year before, yeah.
There's no way we win that game if Tua plays. You know, they're on their 3rd string quarterback by the end of that game, and if Tua played that game against the Vikings in Miami, we lose. You know, so I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But didn't Skylar Thompson play better when he came in than Tua had before he got hurt?
Yeah. Skylar Thompson I like him. His mentality is something insane. He's a team player. He'll do whatever it takes for the team to win. You know, I saw an interview. He said, if they want me to hold kicks, I'll hold kicks. If they want me to be a long snapper, I'll be a long snapper. He said, whatever it takes for the team to win, you know. So the kid's got a real go-get-it mentality. It's you know, so he did. He played extremely well that game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only major knock against Tua is, yes, he'll throw a real pretty ball, but he'll also throw some passes that are some of the worst that you've ever seen. Because watching at the end of last year, I couldn't believe some of these passes. He's going way over the head of Tyreek Hill, which that guy is so fast. How do you overthrow him?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and he has yet to have a 30-touchdown season, which obviously is because of his injuries. But then again, he has injuries so often that he can't get a 30-touchdown season. So
now he's even got Odell Beckham there too.
Yeah, but he's starting the season on the PUP list.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. You also got to take that Odell has taken a step or two down the past
Right.
couple of years. But he's still a decent enough guy. Between the three of them, you should easily have a 30 touchdown year.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope he stays healthy. You don't want to see someone get CTE by the age of 30. Like, it's just a sad situation. And this is going to be kind of out of left field. That's why I'm glad we didn't draft Penix. I mean, they obviously reached up and took him from us. We wouldn't have had a choice, but he's an ACL away from being out of the league. When you're 25 and you've already had 2 ACL replacements, those don't get stronger each time. So
that's when you might go the Carson Palmer route and go get the surgery where they take the Achilles off of someone and completely replace the ACL.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah. That's what I found interesting, because the person that ended up donating it, he ended up meeting their family. And the NFL made a little bit of a spectacle out of it. It was nice to see. So,
that's cool.
With the way that medicine's advanced in the past 5 years, that I wouldn't be too worried about, ACLs or stuff like that. We're even seeing guys like Kirk Cousins and Rodgers coming back from Achilles injuries in a little less than a year, when these used to be clear renders.
Yeah, look at
We haven't seen them come back though. They're both still to be seen.
Okay, they're both cleared to practice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Achilles basically ended Marino's career.
Yep.
So I mean, you're right. It has come a long way, but still, and what I've noticed too is that there's a lot of non-contact injuries to the knees and the ankles, and I'm no doctor, I'm no specialist, but a lot of it I think is these players are getting so much muscle bulk and so strong, and their tendons can't keep up.
Yeah,
their tendons aren't getting any strong. You can't build strength in your tendon just by lifting weights. So the muscle gets so intense that they put so much pressure on these tendons, they just give out. So
for sure,
you got to find that happy medium.
Sonny Jurgensen.
That's an old reference.
I was like, I'd lie if I knew who that was.
I was going to say you had to wait for the gray beard. Oh,
yeah, no, that's absolutely true about the size of players, and it's not going to get smaller. So it's just something that we're going to have to learn to deal with, and hope that the medical science behind recovery or repairs does make an impact.
D lineman running 4.5s, 4.6s. Dude,
seriously.
In high school, I mean, I'm not going to date myself, but it was a long time ago. I was running a 4.9, 5.1 as a tight end, and I was mediocre fast.
Yeah.
And now, dude, they'd say go play guard. Go play center. You ain't fast enough to be a tight end at running a 5.5. It's just incredible.
Well, a lot of these kids now growing up have been training pretty much since they were like 10 years old. And they're going through the full training of it. So they're getting these giant, huge muscles, and we're wondering why they're outperforming anything that we did back in the day.
Yeah. Right.
We've damn near genetically engineered them.
Well, and I think this is the Vikings' first year that they replaced the turf at US Bank with, it's still an artificial style turf, but I guess it's a hybrid, and it's supposed to be better for players and stuff like that. And I think it's like a $2 million turf replacement. So it'll be interesting to see if that has an impact on player injuries this year.
Yeah, hopefully.
Guys, I know they did a study that didn't seem very wide-ranging from what I saw about injuries over the past couple of years of grass opposed to turf. And it, the NFL was saying there was only like a 0.05% increase, and the players union was like, dude, you've only done like 32 games. You have to do more. It's like there was like the players union was like, dude, you're not doing an extensive enough research. And the NFL's like, yeah, but there's only less than 0.5%. So why should we research it more?
Right.
It's like when you sit there and talk to Lions fans, they only want to talk about the past year. Anything before that does not count. We cannot factor this into the equation. It's only the past year and a half.
I had a Lions fan tell me we've had a mediocre last 2 decades, and I lost my shit. Like, which one of us went 0-16? I'm sorry.
Well, if you be worse, it could be like the past couple of decades. Their past couple of decades was absolutely god awful.
Yeah. No, I couldn't believe it. You have one good season. We had 13 wins 2 years ago.
Right. Well, what did I see that somebody said? There's 4 teams in the AFC East, and the Jets ranked 5th in division titles.
Yeah.
The Colts used to be in the East.
I was
going to say more division titles than the Jets.
That's like Detroit. When we were the NFC Central, Tampa Bay had a few division wins out of there.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it gave me a good laugh. I'm happy for him. Like, it's fun to see the division do good outside of the division. Hey, I want to be a strong division. Don't act like you've been there before. And that's coming from a Viking fan. We haven't been there before.
No, you've been there. You just haven't hosted up the trophy.
Fair.
Because one thing we'll give you, even though we bust your guys' chops about it a bit, is at least you've gone to 4 freaking Super Bowls. You might not have won any, but you've been to the dance. The Lions hadn't even sniffed that.
Right.
And right on cue. Some fool's gold Lions. Because they're just the same old Lions.
That's going to be a fun battle between Detroit and Green Bay this year. I'm excited to watch it.
Oh, yeah. And even Chicago looks like they're building something pretty decent out there. Now, it all hinges on if Caleb Williams is the guy or not.
Yeah.
But if he is, we're going to have ourselves a hell of a battle with them.
I'm not a believer in Caleb. Swift is injury prone. I mean, their defense is obviously massively improved, but I still don't trust their head coach. Keenan Allen's an injury away from being out of the league. He's 32. He hasn't played a full season in a while. They do have a Dunze, but again, that's another rookie that you have to hope lives up to the billing. So, I mean, they had the same record as us last year, and all of a sudden they're supposed to be this 10-win team, and we're supposed to be a 5-win team. I don't think there's that much of a difference in talent. So it's between Green Bay and Detroit. I don't think anybody else is going to be quite close. Sorry.
I know. I was just going to say, some of the contract demands I've heard from Williams, it's like, I don't know whether to believe him or not, if it's true. Like, he wanted his mom to be employee of the Bears as a counselor.
Like that's just us fans screwing with him from the time he went up into the stands and cried in mommy's lap about losing the game.
You know, but there's been like other ones too. Like he wanted ownership of the team as part of his contract.
That was his father spouting a bunch of nonsense.
Right. But you just don't know where. Like, you hear this stuff and it's like, and his dad made all these weird accusations, like he's going to go play for the A's or the Yankee or whatever it was. Like,
right?
Where do you draw the line on what's going on with this whole situation? Like, dude, is he serious? Is like this guy take football serious, or is it just everything's larger than life around him? If you look at USC's last season, dude, they crumbled.
Yeah,
they lost 4 in a row to end the season. Like, dude, what was he so busy getting ready for the NFL he forgot to finish his college career?
Well, and so that's my biggest knock against him is in the 5 games he played versus top 25 defenses, he had 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a pretty like a mid-70s passer rating. And so it's like, yeah, cool. You can go out and beat the Colorado Bulldogs, and you can go out and beat University of New Mexico but when you actually have to play a skilled defense, and the whole adage goes is like a good college defense is a mediocre NFL defense. So every time he goes up against an NFL level defense, those are all drafted players. It's not, 2 or 3 NFL level players and then a bunch of scrubs. So we'll see if he can do it for a 17-game season.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's got all the talent in the world. it's his mentality that I think is going to be what could possibly ruin his career. He has to be locked completely in, and he's got a lot of maturing to do in this year. And I'm not saying he can't, but I'm saying he has to. Otherwise, he will be another Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf. Shit, we'll even throw Kyler Murray in there.
Yeah,
because
he doesn't take he doesn't take it seriously.
Yeah,
no, it almost seems like he doesn't sometimes.
Yeah, because he's another one with a bunch of talent, but it's not translating on the field because, like you were saying, he's not taking it seriously.
If your cast around you can't buy into you being the leader, they're not going to rally around you, and you're not going to have success. And so, if you're one of those like, "Hey, I'm just here to be a star. I want to like make it me," then good luck.
Oh yeah. So. It's great you have your own brand and everything, and you got ways to make money besides the NFL, but that should not be your focus.
Right. And that's going back to
that's what I worry about with Caleb Williams. Is that's what his focus is going to be, is expanding his brand to the absolute limits.
And that's another thing I like about McCarthy is he seems like an ultimate team player. Like he's talking about Josh McCown being like a big brother. He's talking about KOC, and now he's like a mentor, and the same thing with Justin Jefferson. And the fact that the Vikings came out and basically said, "Hey, like we're going to redshirt this guy," and he's might be QB3 in this season, and he hasn't come out and been like, "Man, I feel like I'm being done wrong." Like he's taking it all in stride. So I think we have a high character guy. He seems like he has good moxie. He likes the competition. He's not above anybody. So I like that.
Yeah. Hey, and even Dorn sitting there saying that the Vikings can get a few picks off of Caleb this year. Even with your guys being strung together.
Well, there was a tweet I saw from Dan Orlovsky that said if Sam Darnold plays a full 17, he thinks he's going to have more yards than Caleb Williams. So that was a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
Dude, Orlovsky's off the wall sometimes. He really is.
Yo.
Out of here, Luca.
Wow. But speaking of our secondary, I think SoCal had mentioned something about KOC speech at Jackson and at
the Kyrie funeral. Yeah.
Man, talk about team players. He refused or declined to have shoulder surgery because he wanted to be there for his team, and Donald tried talking him into just getting the surgery done, start the season, either on the PUP or injured reserve, and come back healthy and he's like, I want to be I want to be there for my brothers, so losing somebody with that mentality is just, dude. And I watched the clip of him, of the speech, his, I don't want to say speech, his eulogy or whatever. O'Connell got pretty emotional. It was, man, I mean, for a short time that kid was with the team, he must have had some incredible impact with his personality to get a head coach that, connected. So, I mean, man, it was, to lose not just a young life, but somebody who had that much impact on a team in that short amount of time and with that much ability that, man, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, even Dallas Turner said, he made a quote, he still talks to me, and he stops by. I guess the Vikings at training camp have that Kyrie Jackson tribute section of the field, and he stops by and puts flowers and kneels by it and kind of has conversations with him still. And then they knew each other through OTAs, and like you said, they made that much of an impact that quick that these players are just gutted.
They played 1 year together in Alabama.
Got it. Okay.
1 or 2, I think. 1 for sure. But yeah, before he transferred to Oregon, he was at Alabama. So they had a connection already. But there was a couple other players that went to the funeral from the Vikings. One was an Oregon State player, I think. Man, it just what a way to start your season. Just talk about potential and just I don't want to dwell on it too long, but man, it just the Vikings totally embraced this kid embraced the Vikings, and it just, wow, just a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's nice to see the Vikings take care of the family, and I guess they're flying them out here for the first game, and they're hosting a memorial before the game, and they're going to rock his number on their jerseys for the season, or on their helmets, I should say.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say,
special lapel pins for the coaches, I guess,
mm-hmm.
or some kind of pin thing. So, I mean, it's just, man, sometimes you just, feel this team is cursed, but it's bigger than just our team. So, I mean, it's his family and that type of stuff. So, but anyway, we did make a couple other acquisitions this week. What's his name? Francis, corner from Texans, undrafted free agent guy. Not a lot of experience. Like we were talking earlier, Matthew. 5 games, mostly on special teams.
Yeah.
And then
not a lot of your guy.
Yeah, my guy Jabril Cox. Man, I watched a lot of him coming out of college, and an NDSU guy his sophomore year was Missouri Valley Conference Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore. 4 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns.
Jeez.
Yeah. Was second on the team in tackles, or led the team in tackles, second on the team in tackles for loss, and then transferred to LSU for a grad transfer for a senior year. So he graduated NDSU in 3 years and was a grad transfer to LSU. So the kid's pretty smart.
Yeah.
And 1 year with LSU, he had 2 picks, 1 for a touchdown, like 2 fumble recoveries, 6 passes defended. Like, I really think this kid could fit in a Flores defense pretty good. So,
watch out, Asamoah.
I don't think I honestly, someone had him as a surprise cut, and I'm just like, is it really a
surprise?
Yeah, really a surprise cut. Like,
especially with Gabe Murphy, if he's supposed to be the next Ivan Pace, like I don't see room for them.
I mean, our defensive end room, or our outside linebacker room, as they call it now, is so young with so much potential. You're looking at Dallas Turner and Andre Carter and Gabe Murphy, and I mean, even Grenard's not that old, and
right, yeah, he's only
Jones a second, and it's just there's so much. Someone ain't going to make this team,
right?
And, it's going to be scary.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is.
It's the old adage of or not the old adage, but it's the same Vikings things where it's like we are either always good on defense and not offense, or we're always good on offense and not defense, and it never quite clicks on both sides. Last year, it looked like it was kind of starting to, and then Kirk tears his Achilles. Right. So it looks like our defense, I mean, given our cornerback group being super weak, our defense should, again, be top 15. I think top 10 this year, especially going into the second year of the Flores system. But our offense, we have Sam Darnold at quarterback. So we have all these weapons with a tier 2, tier 3 quarterback throwing the ball. It's just,
I mean, honestly, the way he's looked so far, and I know we're getting close on time here, so I'll go quick. If Sam Darnold plays average, above average for him, but average for him,
yeah,
and doesn't make mistakes like he has in the past, just manage the game. I mean, this offense could be anywhere from 28th to top 15.
Yeah.
Just depending on if he makes mistakes or not.
Yeah, he just has to play like a top 20-ish quarterback, not a backup.
If we have a running game this year, look out, because that takes a lot of pressure off him.
Hey, Jones says he wants 15-plus touchdowns.
Hell, let's get it for him.
Right. Thank you for him, by the way.
What did we have, 3 all last season on the ground?
Yeah.
Maybe 4?
You're welcome to have him and all, but don't count on him being there every game. That's why we got rid of him.
Yeah.
No, we already know that.
But then sign Josh Jacobs, who has trouble playing every year.
Yes, but he plays more than Jones did.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting there step by step.
It's an improvement.
Although I did hear the Vikings have interest in bringing back, going to the former Gopher. What's his name? I was going to say Marion Barber, but that's not it.
Gosh. Ibrahim?
Yeah, Mohammed Ibrahim. There was interest in bringing him in.
I mean, he's used and abused, but he could be a rotational guy.
Yeah.
All right. And unfortunately, we've hit that time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks for commenting. And you will be back to your regularly scheduled program next week.
Skull.
Skull.